What's up, babies? Inside this box is a light from SHEHDS. This is their 7x40 watt. It's their big BI. It is a moving head, but before we get into it, I gotta crack this baby open. So let's get in here.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks so much for checking out the video. This is my first product partnership, so I just want to say thanks a bunch to SHEHDS for sending this light over. But two things. My opinion will not be skewed just because they sent me this light, and also this goes into a ton of detail because it is my first one. So thanks for coming along for the ride with me. All right, so let's dive into this. I already popped the manual out. So this is, once again, this is the LED beam and wash Big B's eyes. It's a 7x40 watt RGBW zoom lighting. And on their website, I know they refer to it as a moving head and DJ light and stage light and all these other things. So of course, you know, let's just dive into this real quick. So we come with some accessories, DMX cable and a little power for it, power con. And then of course we got some mounting stuff to get through. Let's just get through this styrofoam as soon as possible. Oh my gosh. That was cool. All right, and then here we are. 7x40. I don't know why we unbox. Do we unbox because of packaging? Because the packaging is fine. I know sometimes people will get damaged products and things like that, but there is no way. Double boxed. Okay, just go down on the ground. Starting to understand why people do this at a desk. Oh, okay. Here she is. This is big. I did not expect it to be this big. So I think the website said it's around 25 pounds. I believe that. 11 kilos and 14 shipped. So it's a hefty item, and it's just big. It's just super big. This is our starting position. So we got 180, 360, 540, and some. Feels smooth. Per what you'd expect on the back here, we're gonna have DMX in and out and power in and out fuse and nice loud switch. Hell yeah. So let's get this plugged in already. How about it? All right, we got her plugged in, slowly starting up. Of course, it's brand new, so you don't hear any clicking or any over-the-top fan sounds, but it's a pretty loud fan. You can see it zooming. Ooh, that's juicy. Oof. I'll be honest, I've only ever had simply beams, my Chauvet 355s. I have a couple different versions of them, the zoom and without. But this would be a first for me. So let's, in the menu down here, we're gonna pull over our trusty backup camera. You can see everything you normally expect from, oh, not touchscreen. Everything you normally expect to see in here. With that set. Am I doing this wrong? Okay. Oh, it's just up and, I got it. It's just up and down to control the settings. So there's your DMX address. You can go to settings, you get the run mode. The channel modes are pretty intense. You got 23, 35, and 51. So having 51 would be great. I'm curious what that would be. Of course, it's the same stuff you always see in everything. We're gonna, I wanna see how it runs on sound though, so that we can just, you know, get a little sample. Okay, so it, oh. Oh, and then it switches to wash. Okay, pretty simple. Let's get it off that. Ow! Hey, Relax. Freaking chill, dude. All right, so sound mode is exactly what you would expect. It's just kind of jumping all over the place and responding to any beat. But it's reactive and it does a lot. But it was staying pretty high planed, I guess. So definitely shooting up at ceilings and everything. Let's see what we got in here. Let's do auto 1. This shouldn't need any input from me. Okay, that's doing exactly what the sound did. Yeah. Yep, there's the big spin and then it switches to wash. Okay, cool. That's auto 1. What about auto 2? Oh, auto 2 is shooting down and straight up and back at the camera and kind of staying even, but still staying up. Oh. It's a big old wash. I like that. Oh, look at all the colors. Hell yeah. Okay, that's enough. Back to DMX. Okay, so far I like the colors. Colors are crispy. I don't know, the squares I'm not a big fan of just in general for lighting. I realize, you need some shape, but the wash is crazy just to be using it with all the other effects, It'd be cool to have gobos instead of just the shapes, but it is exactly what it is. Not to mention just on an affordability standpoint for the size and brightness that it is. I'd really like to see it in a darker room, but we're shooting a video, so we can't do that. We don't use auto mode ever, so I'm not really concerned with what happens there. What I am excited to see is how we can control it. We don't use Show Express, we use Wolf Mix now. So I'm curious if we've got some profiles on here that we can check out. So I'm gonna go dive into that real quick, and then we'll go from there. All right, y'all, we're back. Slight delay because I couldn't find the exact profile on the Wolf Mix, but I got it now. Sheds literally hit me up within 12 hours of me asking in order to get it. So we've got a little more control on here. I really want to get it so that you guys can see everything. So I'm going to set up my 360 camera right here as well so that we can kind of catch it on the ceiling a little bit better. All right, so here we are. We got the Wolf Mix. We got the light on. What we're going to do is I'm going to dive into the live edit mode, and we're just going to kind of walk through all the channels on the DMX. We're going to use a 23 channel mode to go through every single channel and just kind of see what it does and what this thing is really capable of. So starting off at the top, of course, actually we're going to start on channel 8 because that's the dimmer. I just want to show you guys real quick just how bright this thing is. This is full blast and this is kind of on like an off-white, but I'm just going to bring it down to like 160 out of 255 because this thing is just crazy bright. So of course you have your panning, and then channel 2 is your light panning, which you can kind of see it wiggling maybe. Either way. And then of course we have our tilting. So if we do a nice little pan here, then we hit a tilt, then I can blind you guys. A little more. Yeah. And then of course you can put it on the back wall. We can do all kinds of things with that, and then of course the little tilting. But let's reset to the top here. Channel 5 is going to be the speed in which it moves. So if you crank it all the way up, then the panning is going to be super slow. You can almost not see it moving. So we're going to turn it down a little bit. So you can see you got a ton of control over that. Reset. This is where things get really cool, is going to be on your zoom. So on the 23 channels, this is channel 6. Basically what you can do is go all the way down to 45 on the DMX control, and that's going to get you the tightest beam you can possibly get. So let me get there real quick. 45 right there. And here, let me show you guys on the wall here. Wrong way. Go back. Here we go. There it is. So super tight. Then if we go to zoom again, we're going to crank it all the way back up. You'll see just how wide it gets. And that's from like 3 feet away, you know? So hang on, let me get it back. Ceiling wise. So that's your zoom. But if you go down below 45, so you bring it all the way to that nice tight point, and then you click it one more, you're going to get this zoom of sort of like the splash. So this is kind of the design that this light has. So it's the square stuff, and then the next channel is going to be your barrel, which can do cool stuff too. So you bring that in, right? You can kind of control where it lands, and then I guess you could do cool like panning stuff with it. But of course we have that sweet barrel control, right? So we go to channel 7, the barrel control. If we go beyond, what is it? Channel 7, if we go beyond 127, so everywhere up to 127 is going to control exactly where it is. So the super tight squares, bring them out a little bit. You get that kind of neat design here. Here, let's get it. Let's get it on the wall so you can see it on the big camera. So look at that. It like matches the thing right behind me, the hex here. So we put it right there for you. You know what? We'll leave it on the ceiling, and we'll check out the 360 for this part. So you're in the barrel. You're doing this cool stuff, right? And then we can turn it up even further, right past the 127. So here's 127. It's kind of like all the way in, and then we click it one more, and it starts to dance. So that 128 to 191 is going to be your counterclockwise speed, right? So the lower the number is, the faster it'll go. And then once you crack, let's see here. Where'd I go? I went too far. 191. You can see how slow it's moving. And then between 191, then it's going to go above 200, and you're just going to go the opposite direction. Pretty simple stuff. Channel 8, I mentioned, is the dimmer. Once again, full blast is crazy. So we're just going to leave it down like around 150, 160. And then, of course, I'm going to do this real quick because channel 9 is the shutter. So, you know, just the faster or the higher the number, the faster the shutter. So you get that strobe effect. And then channels 10, 11, 12, 13 are RGB, W in that order. So red, green, blue, white. So you can add a little bit of, or I guess you could take it away. Hang on, I'm going to reset these. Yeah, so you can, you just play with the colors a little bit if you're trying to find something specific. Let's just find like a cool blue. Cool blue. There we go. I like that. Can we brighten it up a little bit? Yeah. We'll keep that down. Keep the white down. Give it a little more bluey here. And take a little of the green out. Cool. Sweet. Look at that. And I'm actually just we're gonna get that barrel chilling. And oh no, we're gonna leave it in because there's some cool stuff coming up. That's right. But we're gonna leave it right there just so we can see it all. That is that. So that was our red, green, blue, white. Then channel 14 is actually your warmth. So you can add a little bit of heat to it all in gradualness. But we're just going to leave it on that for now. Channel 15, built-in color gradient. This is pretty much just quickly selecting colors that you expect to see. But I'm not going to use that right now. Because, oh wait, hang on. There we go. Because channel 16 is a static effect. So this is pretty neat. I actually want to turn this for y'all so you can see the effects that it has on the actual diodes here. Leave it up a little bit. There we go. All right, so channel 16, you can see that diodes are changing from blue to white. And then there's also some like set stuff in here too. That's more for like the auto stuff. Tell me that doesn't look like Simon the game. Yeah, so there's so much preset in here as far as things you can kind of mooch off of, but I know I myself, and of course anybody else that I work with normally prefers to have the control. So we're going to leave it on that one for now, and then this is going to put us to 17, channel 17, which is the dynamic effect, which allows that pattern that you had before to actually dance around a little bit, and it creates a pretty cool effect if you get this. There we go. If you see on the ceiling here. So, pretty neat stuff. Let's put it on the back wall as we go through all. So we're going to leave it on the ceiling just as we go through all this a little bit more. So we're on the next page, because 17, I think there's just so much more in here as far as goods. And then of course you have the ability to control the speed of it all too, which is just the best. It's amazing that all the channels just work in here. That's super encouraging. I haven't really spent the time to figure out how to use the color effects and move effects with this yet, just because I've only had it for a couple days. But what you can do with the live edit to me is pretty fun, and just kind of setting up different live edits and then being able to just tap buttons and go from there. To be able to run it like macros would be excellent. But let's finish this up. So we're on the speed one. If you then have 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23, those last 5 channels are going to once again be RGBW and then a reset. But the RGBW here is actually going to be the colors that are back behind your, like the changing colors. So let's take all the blue out for sure. And we have some orange in there, so you can see as the blue is cycling through, the orange is coming from the back. And then we can kind of take a look at some of the other designs that it does and just see how, well, whoa, must be some presets in the back here that I haven't rolled up to. All right, cool, yeah, a bunch of presets in the back, but of course you can continue to use your own colors, which to me is preferred. You know? So you do that, you hit this, right? You hit some barrel rotations, you go crazy, right? And then you could always zoom out and get cool washes. Zooming does turn the barrel off, but you can get some cool color combos, and this thing just looks cool. I can only imagine like pointing this guy through some haze, you know? Sorry, I'm hitting you guys right in the eye. Yeah, just look at the color on this is nuts. It's so strong. But yeah, so then of course, like I said, the last couple channels are just going to be colors. And then the options that you're going to get as you go into the higher channels, of course, are going to be just like a little more fine tuning and a lot more control just of colors, which, you know, green 1, green fine. So seriously, fine tuning of coloring. You still have the backing, and then it looks like a little bit more of transitioning effects, as well as dimming, to have like different levels of the background dimming and the main channels. And then when you get into the 51 channels, it's just like RGBW times 7. So you just have a lot more color control. I'm guessing for each individual diode, which would just be, I think that's just way beyond anything as a mobile DJ we personally need. But they advertise this to be for any stage, and for DJing, for clubs, for stage lighting, for just house parties and stuff. And I do think that it can touch a lot of those positions. But that's just about it for this. So there it is. That is your LED beam and wash, big B eyes, 7x40 RGBW zoom lighting. I just want to call it the Big B. The thing's bright as hell. It's a little bit heavy,
but it's got some versatility and it's definitely different than any light I have personally ever used. It doesn't feel like the Wolf mix is fully there yet, but that's probably just because of my lack of time spent with it. But I do think that this thing can be used for a lot of things. Me personally, I think I would probably use it for wash more than anything else. Pairing it with some other moving heads specifically that have a little more gobo control and a little more designs, I think this thing could be really fun. But also you can bring it out just as a pair and then you can have cool designs at the same time. The designs just scream a little, not cheap, but you know, it's not like a true gobo or anything. We love to use like a frosted glass gobo just to add like a little class to the vibe of a wash, you know? But I love it. I'm definitely going to try and bring it out at some point when we have some moving heads. I'd love to get a pair and just see how they really look. But as far as this thing, I think it's something that at the price point it's at, which is just over $500, being just about 25 pounds, this thing is kind of big, but it's big and it gives a big light. So there you go. I hope you learned something from this video. Let me know if this is something that you think you would bring out. I think if there was like a smaller version, it'd be really cool, but I would love the brightness. I think the brightness is the biggest thing on this. Just being able to wash a huge room would be fantastic. So I like you, little guy. Shouts out to SHEHDS for sending this to me and for making this such a fun review. Make sure you check out SHEHDS. They have new arrivals coming in all the time and they have so much stuff, whether it's Canons or different types of lights. There's something on there for just about everybody. So check them out. Check out this light and let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure you like and subscribe if you're still here. Really, at the end of the day, I appreciate you being here and checking this out. So thanks so much.